we share some great
Hello there, my name's Lloyd Gwillem and I'm the producer and editor for Toastmasters TV. I was just finishing up a few editing touches on this episode and wanted to share a programming note. My dream of creating Toastmasters TV began a few months before the onset of COVID-19. Unfortunately, the response to COVID-19 upset our in-studio learning at Shaw TV. However, thanks to Shaw's Spotlight producer Jonathan Horst, we were able to complete our training virtually. This episode will be a little bit different than most programs produced at Shaw Studio. The video capture work was done, well, with our own cameras, on locations where we can ensure physical distancing, such as Bruce Park in St. James, or at member homes. Plus, rather than studio editing, it had to be done in my home using a program called DaVinci Resolve. Our thanks go out to Shaw TV and Jonathan for their gracious support and his work in setting up the virtual training. I do hope you enjoy this episode, and thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to Toastmasters TV, the show where we share some great experiences participating in a Toastmasters club. My name is Aldrin Santos and I will be your host for today. In this episode, I interview Jenny Gates, a speech competitor in the international stage. In Speaking Critique, Caroline Shaver will present a speech and be evaluated by our panel. In Tips for Better Speaking, 3 experienced Toastmasters will share how to improve your next presentation. Toastmasters International is a non-profit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs. The organization's membership exceeds 360,000 in more than 16,000 clubs in 143 countries. Since 1924, Toastmasters International has helped people from diverse backgrounds to become more confident speakers and leaders in their field. Each year, Toastmasters International holds the World Championship of Public Speaking. The competition starts with 16,000 Toastmasters clubs around the world. Through a series of contests, each district selects their top speaker to enter the semifinals. From there, 6 individuals are selected to compete at the international convention held in August. Local Toastmaster Jenny Gates made the semifinals back in 2013. Jenny and I spoke earlier. How are you, Jenny?
I'm great, thanks, Aldrin. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, fine, thank you.
Beautiful day in the park today.
It is indeed. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, you're welcome. Yep.
So let me start with this first question. How long have you been a Toastmaster?
I've been Toastmaster for probably about 23, 24 years, I think. I started not long after I moved here from Australia, and someone suggested it would be a great place to practice my speaking skills.
And I think you definitely had a good practice all throughout these years.
Thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I have very much.
Oh, great. So I know that you've entered a World Championship of Public Speaking, right?
Yes.
Could you explain to us the steps in joining the contest?
Well, the biggest step when you're going into a contest is that you have to have the confidence to say, right, I'm going to do it. It's a bit of a challenge to do, but there are 7 steps all up. So, and you have to win each one in order to move through to the next round. When you get to the World Champion stage, there's just 6 people who are competing, so it's a really tight sort of contest. But as you move along, you get to compete first of all in your club, then the area, the division, the district. There's a video round, the semi-final stage, which is as far as I've got, and then of course the goal at the end is the World Championship stage.
That sounds like a hard work and time commitment, Jenny.
It's a big commitment because it's not just like presenting at your club. So you develop skills to go into the speech contest by speaking at your club, and also by just developing how to write a speech. So making sure that you practice that at your club, and then anywhere else that you can practice with anybody. And then, but just wanting to make sure that you deliver the best message that you can in the speech that you're trying to deliver.
So I'm hearing that you have joined a lot of competitions, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So in that case, why did you actually enter such a contest?
The first speech contest I went in was the junior contest. That's something that they don't have anymore, but it's a really great way to get people who are new to Toastmasters to try out speaking in a contest. What was fun about that was that I got to talk about something I did every day. So I was delivering the paper at the time, and it was just, I was able to do a speech about delivering the paper. So doing a speech where you talk about things that you do in your daily life, or things that are important to you, or if you've got a message or had an experience. And once I did the contest once and realized that there was an opportunity to be able to share stories that I wanted to share, then I was totally hooked on them, for sure.
Excellent. Did you have any kind of support group during those times? And what kind of support group are they?
Yeah, support is really the key thing when you're competing, because you need to know you've got people that you can trust, not just to say, yay, that was really good, but to say, you really need to work on this part. So the best place to start with is your club, because that's where you know that everybody there is going to support you and encourage you, and they're going to stand by you right the way through the contest. But, you know, you can talk, as I say, you can give a presentation to your family, to your friends. People are really keen to listen to stories, so there's never a shortage of people who will want to support you and encourage you to go even further with the speech that you're working on.
You seem to have a lot of support, Jenny.
Yes.
So I'm curious, what does it feel like to be in the World Championship of Public Speaking stage?
Wow. It was so exciting and so nerve-wracking. I'm not sure which was the most powerful in some ways, because it's totally different to speaking at your club. When you speak at the club, it's a smaller area. When you get to the level that I got, which was the semi-finals, it's a huge stage, and there are hundreds of people. So for me to be able to do that, get up in that kind of environment and deliver a speech, I thought I'd be way more nervous than I was, but I wasn't as nervous. I think I was carried along by the crowd, because they're really keen to, as I say, to hear people deliver speeches and stories. And so everyone was really encouraging, and I felt like I was being supported all the way through. So even though it was a bit nerve-wracking, I was fully confident in the speech, and I was also carried along by what everybody was reacting to what I was saying.
If I were on your place, that would be so nerve-wracking too. But at the same time, I would feel really invigorated.
Yeah.
So, are there any lessons that you've learned or you gained from joining the World Championship of Public Speaking?
The path to the World Championship is a really wonderful path for connecting with other people and connecting with yourself. I think you develop skills sometimes that you didn't know that you had. There's an opportunity to try and take the speech to another level, to add more gestures, to more movement, to have words that connect more with people. So I think that if you start off with the idea of what the speech is that you want to deliver, or the message that you want to deliver, and then from there you try and hone that speech and that message over and over. And if you really believe that what you want to say is important, then that's going to make for a great speech. At the end of the day, it is not about the win. The win is great, and yes, you have to win to get to the World Championship stage, but it's really about discovering what you have to offer with respect to the stories that you want to share and how you can connect with other people.
Great. I actually heard this saying that it's not really about the destination, but the journey towards it.
I would totally agree with that. The journey, sometimes you don't get very far in it. That happens. But other times you just, if you keep taking something away from it every time, I think it just makes you a better speaker, but also makes you a better person, because you have a better idea of what it is that you have to offer. And that's really worth striving for, I think.
If given the opportunity, would you do it again?
I totally would do it again. I always have a speech in my back pocket that I can pull out, so anytime the World Championship round starts up again, I'm going to be there to compete.
I would definitely support you the next time you come in.
Thank you, Aldrin.
There are actually a number of Toastmasters out there who are interested in joining speech contest.
Yep.
What kind of tips or what would you recommend to them when they join those kinds of contests?
I think the first thing I would suggest is make sure you've got something that is important to you that you want to share. If it doesn't mean anything to you, you're not going to be able to convey it in a way that's going to mean something to anybody else. So if you've got something that you want to talk about or something that's happened that you want to share, if you make that the foundation of your speech, and then you only have 7 minutes. So it's not like you can talk on and on and on. You have to hone that down. But the best way to do that is to know exactly what message you want to get across to people. And then once you have that in your mind, then you just keep practicing that speech as much as you can and making it work even more for you.
Amazing, Jenny. So we're almost close to the end of this interview.
Okay.
So before we wrap up, is there anything that you wish to add for our audience?
I guess I would like to say you've got nothing to lose by competing in a speech contest, but you have everything to gain. Like I said before, it's not really about the win, although that's what we aim for, but it's really about making a connection and delivering something that's really important. So if you've got something important to say, go into a speech contest. You're going to reach way more people that way than you will just by talking in a small group or meeting in your club.
Amazing, Jenny, and I really enjoyed speaking with you and taking the time to actually invite us for this wonderful interview.
That's great. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So thank you very much, Jenny.
Thanks, Aldrin.
Hope to see you again. Let's transition now to a segment called Speak and Critique. Here's how it works. A local Toastmasters will give a speech before a panel. The panel will then provide constructive criticism to help the speaker improve. I would now like to introduce Carolyn Shaver with her speech.
Bats are a possible source of the coronavirus that is now rocking the world. Did you know that bats are not the only mammals capable of flight? Human beings spread the deadly coronavirus, COVID-19, through our ability to fly. So we should be blaming the Wright brothers, not bats, for the initial worldwide spread of COVID-19, right? After all, they invented the first airplane. The Wright brothers should have stayed in their home and invented something useful, like the aluminum beer can. Ultralight applies to more than just aircraft. Now, with air travel restrictions, people are staying home. Many of us who are fortunate enough to have a job are working from home. Why? Because we have computers and the internet with which to share data and communications remotely. Isn't it wonderful getting ready for work without having to get ready for work? We refute the need to commute. Morning ablutions are unnecessary. Your dog doesn't mind if you are hairy or emit a distinctive odor. Fido, your dog, perceives you as becoming more dog-like. This is known as canine mirroring and will improve the relationship. Your computer, like your dog, will not judge you. Your computer will not judge you based upon your appearance, and that's pretty nice. Another nice thing is your computer will turn a blind eye as you are greedily guzzling from your aluminum beer can while you are in an online meeting with the CEO. Just ensure your camera is covered and your microphone is muted. Your computer is your friend, except for when you're trying to log on or access software. I mostly blame the father of the computer. See, the father gets the blame for once, not mother. Charles Babbage for these frustrations. I would also like to blame the inventor of the internet, but apparently I cannot, because dozens of scientists, programmers, and engineers conceived and built our information superhighway. It was a team effort. I cannot finger point. What about overcoming the chaos our world is now facing? It is and will be another team effort. So forget about blaming anyone. Do we have what it takes? Will our prayers be heard? Yes. There are no log-on problems with simple prayer. So let's just keep connecting, online and off. May I recommend online www.toastmasters.org. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Caroline, for that really interesting speech. Now, let's turn it over to the panel. Our panel consists of distinguished Toastmasters, Thekla Thaid, Jenny Gates, and Glenn Wark.
What a fantastic speech that was today, Caroline. I think you did a really, really great job. I could tell you prepared for your speech and you put a lot of effort into practicing this. Now, these are just my opinions. When I give you some feedback, it's just what I think, and it's just what I've thought of the speech, and we feel free to talk to me after the speech if you want to, and we can talk about more stuff after if you like. Now, you had a really great structure to your speech. I thought that you had a really great intro and then a nice body and a conclusion. You jumped right into the theme of your speech. You talked about how your speech, about the who is to blame, which is the title of your speech, and you talked about the Wright brothers. You talked about having the beer can, and I liked how you incorporated some humor into that. Now, if I were to challenge you on something to try and incorporate in your speech, then that would be a greeting. I think it would be nice to have a greeting at the start and greet the Toastmaster, and you can transition into that greeting after your intro, or you could have that greeting right at the start. It's up to you. If you were to participate in a contest and get to the International Speech Contest, you would need to have a greeting in order to be considered for placing in that. I thought it was really great the way you transitioned and talked about the dog and then talked about the computer, and again there's a bit of humor in there, which flowed really nicely into your conclusion when you talked about to conquer COVID, we need to make it a team effort. So I think it was really, really great job. I really enjoyed the flow. It just was very natural. Great work, and I look forward to hearing the next one from you.
I thought Caroline's speech started with a fantastic premise and a brilliant way to introduce the topic that she wanted to talk about. I also love that right away she got into using her language to make sure that she conveyed herself in the way that she really wanted to. So when she said things like, "We refute the need to commute," it was said with a lot of passion and enthusiasm. And when she talked about canine mirroring, I've never even heard of that before, so I don't know if she made it up or if it was just something that she's heard about, but it worked perfectly for the presentation. One of the suggestions I would have for Caroline is that the speech title was "Who is to Blame?" But she didn't use that at the end of the speech, and that would have been a great way to wrap the speech right up by having the title and then using that as a question at the end to engage the audience. But otherwise, I thought that she used clever language to talk about a topic that was clearly of importance to her, but also about something that's very current and we could all relate to. So I really appreciated her words today in her speech.
I really liked the way Caroline opened her speech. She had the bat, and she wasn't just holding it. It was flying around, and I thought it had good impact as she started her speech. She talked about the Wright brothers, and she put her arms out. One recommendation I would give Caroline is when she was thinking about her next line, she tended to look away. Just keep looking at the audience. And the other part was using both hands in synchronicity to have balance. Caroline used lots of amazing gestures throughout a meeting about getting dressed, about watching the camera. She did an amazing job. Great job, Caroline.
Next up, tips for better speaking. Please welcome our 3 experienced Toastmasters.
Hi, my name is Alfred and I've been a Toastmaster for 25 years. You may ask why. Well, I was a quiet mouse in the corner that did not want to participate. Well, I had to do presentations and I started participating. Then I was asked to do a speech and I had to think about what I was speaking about. The Jets were leaving and I was absolutely against that. I had passion to speak about it and I wanted to get a message through. I did this speech and to this day I still think that was my best speech ever. Now you may ask, why are you still with Toastmasters? 25 years, that's a long time. I'm learning new things every time a new member signs up. The new members have their own ideas, own thoughts, and own ways. So I'm learning something new every time I meet a new person in Toastmasters. And I can help them as they can help me. That's one of the reasons why I stayed in Toastmasters this long. I will have to go and get better every time. There's leadership involved, there's speaking involved, and I know I can do better than I did today. So let me tell you, stay with it, because in the end, everybody can learn something in Toastmasters.
Hello, bonjour. My name is Lillian, and I've been a Toastmasters for the last 18 years. The stage has never been my enemy. Being a 4-H enthusiast and an event planner, I visited many stages. Prior to speaking at an event, make sure that you know your message, that you know who your audience is, and that you're aware of the venue. Here's my steps as I enter a stage. I take a deep breath, relax, and then I step forward. I'm really happy when there's a lectern on the side of the stage, as it allows me to walk up to the lectern, take another deep breath, relax, and ground myself by putting a hand on the lectern. 20 years ago, the lectern became my best friend. One of my bad habits is posture. As I went to move to the center stage, I tripped over my own feet. The lectern held me right side up. I then composed myself and went to the center stage. Why the center stage? From there, you're at the center of your audience for visual contact. You can also then move to the left for part of your message, and another story can be at the right, and you can move forward to grab your audience. You never move back, as that means pulling your message away from your audience. It also allows you to have good visual contact. If it's a small audience, do it with every single person in attendance. Eye contact with everyone. If it's a larger audience, you can divide the audience as a tic-tac-toe board and then focus on each little part. Regardless, you need to stay focused and you need to have hand gestures, and that will also help you convey your message. A hand gesture has to be in conjunction with your speech. Don't just flail your arms around. That's not going to help. If I'm talking about the weather, use both hands and do it. However, it has to match your speech. The hand gestures, the body language, the stage presence will all make your message attractive to your audience, and your audience will listen and they will receive the message you are trying to convey. Keep on smiling, keep on using your stage, and good luck.
Have you ever said something only to immediately regret it? Have you ever had to say, oh, that came out wrong, I didn't mean it that way, or something similar? I know I have. You probably have as well. And if you haven't yet, it will happen to you eventually. My name is Michael Hofer. I've been a Toastmaster since 2016. Now that scenario that I mentioned at the start, as I said, it happens to everyone. Hopefully, when it happens to you, when, not if. It's something relatively benign that you can laugh off. It's an amusing anecdote you can share with your friends. But what if it's something that's not so benign? What if it's during a job interview? What if you're having a fight with a romantic partner or a family member? What if you're overheard by one or several passersby? Or you're recorded and you go viral on the internet? You can't unsay what you've just said. Always remember, before you speak, consider your word choice, because your words have power. They can enhance or diminish the opinion of a potential employer, sometimes even years down the line. They can raise someone's spirits when they're having a bad day. On the flip side, you can utterly ruin somebody's day or life with an ill-considered word. Your ability to communicate will be one of the greatest influences on the quality of your home life, career, and social life. Mind your words as you would a fire. Without control, you risk damaging or destroying something beyond repair. But when used wisely, when employed with forethought and purpose, you now command one of the most powerful tools you will ever have. That completes Tips for Better Speaking. Back to you, Aldrin.
That does it for this episode of Toastmasters TV. This program is put together by a volunteer group of District 64 Toastmasters. District 64 comprises of Manitoba, Northwest Ontario, and Northwest Minnesota. All Toastmasters clubs welcome guests. To find a club near you, go to toastmasters.org and click on Find a Club. Thank you so much for watching.